Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, lax rats alike, welcome back to another episode of the Crease Dive. Today is Friday, March 25th, and the Terps are an absolute wagon. I'm Jordy from Barstool. With me, as always, we've got our good friend Dukes on the mic. Dukes, how's it feeling this week? I know a big 4 days in college basketball for you, but also another solid weekend of college lax.
Look, the Ivies look unbelievable. I thought I wasn't going to be able to watch that much lacrosse this weekend. I was able to watch way more.
Actually, terrible weekend for the Ivies. 3 teams lost, but go ahead.
Well, I'm thinking about Cornell. Yeah, that was a great game. And then you had the Penn Princeton unbelievable overtime game winner.
I'm saying that 3 teams played each other, so 3 of them had to lose.
Well, my brain doesn't work like that. My brain, I don't know who they play on Sunday. I'm thinking Saturday schedule, but yeah, no, wonderful weekend for lacrosse. I mean, UVA got shit pumped. Didn't see that coming, but the good thing, Irish fans out there, St. Patrick's Day, we got the luck back. Notre Dame is so fucking back, so back.
Yeah, I mean, all you need to do is just catch Michigan on this back half of the season, and it seems like you're going to be gonna be filling up the back of the net pretty quickly. But yeah, I mean, let's talk about that Maryland Virginia game. Obviously the biggest game that we've had of the season so far, number 1 versus number 2 in the country. Listen, we've had so many people, and by so many people I mean maybe 4 or 5, bitching and complaining when are you guys going to talk about Maryland? Maryland's doing this, Maryland's doing that. You guys never talk about Maryland. I love Maryland. If there's one team that I want to win a national championship this year, it's gonna be the Terps. My issue with Maryland is that they just, so far this season, there just hasn't been anything intriguing about them, right? They're doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. They're winning games, they're beating teams, they're consistently dominant. So what do you want me to say? Get on here every single week and be yeah, Maryland beat another team. But what we saw out of them this weekend against Virginia was just another level, just a pure annihilation. And I mean, this Virginia team that is so deep, that is so talented offensively, they bitched them around for well over a half of lacrosse. At no point in that first half did it look like that Virginia offense could get anything going. I think it wasn't until it was already something 15-7 in the third quarter. The game was already out of hand before they were even able to score 2 goals in a row.
And the funny thing is their top dog still got theirs in Virginia. You had Matt Moore had 5, Schellenberger had 5, Dixon had 3. If I said all those things, you would probably imagine that Virginia won the game, but they didn't. Keegan Kahn stole the show. And I just want the people that are talk about Maryland. It's not like we were surprised. We said that Maryland is a top 2 team in the country. I thought Virginia was better, but it's not like I was Maryland sucks. And I just want to pull up a tweet from June 29th, 2021. And when everyone says I fucking hate Maryland, I said, getting ahead of this one, will not be fading Maryland next year after Keegan Kahn announced he was going to Maryland. So I've been thinking that Maryland was going to be fucking good for not over a year, but for a long ass time. They're doing exactly what they're supposed to do. They're Maryland. They win. They're play team. You know who they are? They're Villanova basketball. I'm so in basketball mind, but just good team play, good team. You're not gonna have. They don't have they have studs, but you know what I mean. They don't have a Schellenberger, a name grab. They have Wisnauskas, but they just have really, really great lacrosse players, and they get the job done. I don't know who beats them, honestly.
I think that that's a very solid comparison, because again, it's just that they're so good so consistently that the intrigue of that is gone. Virginia has the intrigue because they're back-to-back national champions. The Ivy has the intrigue because we haven't seen them play in 2 years. Every once in a while, a team like Jacksonville will pop up because they're a team that goes on a little bit of a run that you never really expected to do anything. So those are things where it's oh yeah, there's a story there. There's not really much of a story of, oh yeah, Maryland's just fucking running through everybody again. So it's not that we're anti-Maryland. It's just that they're so good that it almost became you can't talk about them because you're just going to say the same thing over and over again. But again, like I said, as Keegan Kahn scoring, it was what, 7 8. Yeah. I'm saying 8 seconds into the game, just setting the tone of that one right away. Not what I was expecting. I just always anticipate Virginia being that team that can just score every single time that they touch the ball. And there were some good moments for Virginia's defense. Like I didn't think that it's crazy to say that a 23-12 game wasn't a totally horrific day defensively for either team. Obviously, much better day for Maryland's D than Virginia, but also big. I mean, Tillman, what a GM he is. What a day for the transfer portal Maryland had. So you got 4-3 out of Keegan Khan after he comes over from Villanova. And then Jonathan Donville, the transfer from Cornell, he also has 3 goals in the day. So, I mean, right there, just 7 goals and 7 goals. Well, let's do the math here. 10 points.
Wow.
Usually you're not maybe you're rubbing off on me a little bit, but yeah.
I'm
so 7 goals, 10 points out of the transfer portal. I mean, now here's the one thing, little conspiracy here, right? Because every time that we see something like this, something kind of perks up a little bit, right? Like this seems like this game shouldn't have gone this way. And, you get into that third quarter and Virginia starts to put up a little bit of a comeback. I think you could tell right away it was going to be a little too late for a full blown comeback, but they were going to make that game a little admirable. And then Maryland just comes right back. I forget if this was exactly the point when Matt Rahill scored that almost like that 3-quarter field goal on the 10-man ride. But then Maryland just, Virginia was kind of propping back up. Maryland bent them right back over and kept spanking them right on the ass. I'm thinking, did Virginia just kind of let up at the end there to now? Because they're going to see Maryland at some point in May, whether it's a national championship rematch, which I hope to God that it is, or at least some point in like the Final Four weekend. Do you think that they just kind of let that game get out of hand? So now Maryland will go into that rematch feeling a little higher on themselves than they maybe should?
No,
there's some gamesmanship there that could be.
I get what you're saying. I have a couple. Obviously, Maryland remembered what happened last year, right? I mean, Peter LaSala also had a terrible day at the X. Terrible day.
And you also can go back to 2019 too. And what was that? The quarterfinal game when Virginia got that goal.
Yes.
There was a lot of revenge on the line for Maryland coming into this game with the way that their past 2 full seasons had ended.
This kind of happened though I feel like with PD last year, where he started the season slow. People were like, is he done? Is he a little washed up? Is he getting too old for the game because he's a junior? But I just don't see him in May showing up like he showed up on Saturday. I think he's a winner. He's a competitor. So maybe I guess in some sense, maybe did he not play his best on Saturday? Maybe did he save a little bit for May because he knows May's when he really got to control the faceoff X? Maybe, but I don't know. I also think there's a couple thoughts that I had in this game. One, going back to your comeback when they almost made the comeback. It was one of those comebacks where they were down 5. They got from 8 or something to 5. And in the back of your head, you're like, oh yeah, this is what they're supposed to do. You didn't think they would actually do it, but if they did do it, we're like, this is Virginia. This is what they're supposed to do. But since they didn't, we're like, oh, too far gone. Second, we had Larkin on twice now, but one of the times we had him, he was talking about how teams get bit in the ass because of the transfer portal, which I kind of see. But when you come to play at fucking Maryland, you compete, be the best. You have to compete with the best if you want to be the best on the field. If you want to see the playing time, you're gonna have to earn that playing time. So I think that's one school that the transfer portal will not hurt them. I mean, can you make the argument for other schools? Maybe, but it's just what you do. If you want to go to Maryland, you want to go to Virginia, you want to go to Duke, and you're out of the portal, that your spot could be taken any day. So I don't know. That's just one thing. Like Maryland controlled the portal this year, and it's paying off dividends.
Yeah, I mean they're way too deep to bring guys in who are gonna go off and do their own thing a little bit when they're out there on the field. And I think that Tillman kind of runs a pretty tight ship over there with his iPad or his Microsoft, whatever it may be.
But like your guy Kyle Long, right?
Yeah,
best player. I'd say probably a top 3 player for Maryland overall. Top 3 easy last year. He had 1 assist, and they beat them they destroyed him. And he and he didn't even play his best game. So yeah, you take him away. You can take Kyle Long out of the game, and you'll still have the Keegan Cons putting up 7 points. It doesn't matter. It's like pick your poison. Who do you want? Who do you want to get beat by on Maryland? That's like what it's turning into. It's a monster.
Yeah. Unfortunately, Kyle had one tough moment where he had to end up, sliding to Connor Schellenberger. And, if you slide to Shelley, it's usually not going to end your way.
Yeah.
But one short stick who I saw who actually did a pretty decent job. Also, Kyle, I don't want to just pull out the one bad moment of that game. So sorry for listening.
This will be on a social clip, by the way.
Yeah, well, fuck. But one short stick D mid, and right now for my money probably will take that first team All-American spot for the SSDM, who had a pretty good showing against Shelley in the very few times that he ended up getting matched up on him. Bubba Fairman. A couple of really good moments defensively out of Bubba. And that's just not saying it for the meme factor. Actually like a few really, there was definitely one moment where he was on Shelley where he was able to, turn him inside or, he held his own enough. So shout out to first team All-American SSDM Bubba.
We've quietly talked about it behind the scenes. Like I keep forgetting to mention it on the show, but I think this is a good time. I've been keeping track of my D-Midi of the week. Sometimes we just don't run out of time, other factors at play. But I want to just congratulate 3-time D-Midi of the week, Bubba Fairman.
Back to back to back.
First 3-time D-Midi of the week on the Crease dive.
They said it couldn't happen, but it did. Yeah. Oh, one last thing. I was contemplating on whether or not to go on a full rant about this or not. I think I'm going to save this for a little bit later, but just like in the meantime, fuck the 10-man ride. Not Joe Keegs. Joe Keegs, you're awesome, but fuck the 10-man ride in general as a concept in lacrosse. It is idiotic for any coach to break out the 10-man ride in today's game where everybody all over the field is so unbelievably skilled. And if you get a long pole with the ball and he's at the top of his own box and you have the net wide open, guess what? He's going to splash it right in your face and you're going to look like a fucking fool. I think we saw it again on Tuesday night. I forget which way it was in that BU Harvard game. I think that BU might've broken out. Yeah. BU broke out the 10-man ride. And I forget who it was on Harvard, but from behind midfield splashed it. So the 10-man ride, if you break it out in today's game where like the stick technology is so good and all these kids are so skilled, you're a buffoon.
I actually disagree. I think that it's one of those things where you need to know your personnel and you need to know the personnel that you're going up against. And obviously, if those two factors are at play, the 10-man ride can be beneficial. If I'm Virginia and Maryland, where it's, the polls are coming from Long Island, Baltimore, skilled Philadelphia, skilled players, yeah, I'm not touching them. But if you're telling me I'm Virginia and I'm playing Bellarmine, no offense to Bellarmine or like Mercer, anyone in the SoCon, like I'm whipping out that 10-man ride every day of the week. You need an athletic goalie, in my opinion, too. Someone that has like legs so they can get back.
Yeah, I just think that it's like the only reason why I see a benefit to the 10-man ride in today's game is like maybe because of the shot clock, like it'll slow down their clear a little bit. And then by the time that they get in and settled on offense, they're going to be a little bit tighter on time. But overall, I don't know. I just feel like we've seen so many 10-man rides get blown up, especially over the last few years, that it's time to get rid of them unless you want to keep ending up on the wrong side of highlight tapes.
Fair point.
Speaking of highlight tapes, Princeton and Penn, they definitely filled up the back of the net more than enough times to fill out a couple highlight tapes. So, I mean, big, unbelievable weekend out of the Ivy League. 3 conference games, all 3 of them coming down to a 1-goal game, and all of them coming down to the final possession of the game. So obviously, Princeton Penn, that one goes 21-20 in overtime. Cornell held on to beat Yale 13-12. Again, one where, Yale had the ball in the final seconds of the game, could have made a play to tie it up, send it to overtime. Gavin Adler held his own on that one. And then same thing with Harvard and Brown. Tough break for Larkin Kemp. The reason why he's not on today is because he's still kind of taking in that loss and, just doing a lot of self-evaluation. But again, another one where that game went to the final possession. Brown got a shot on net. Pretty decent save out of the kid in cage for Harvard. What's his name? I forget, but either way, so 3 unbelievable games. Dukes, what was what one do you want to talk about here?
You can kick it off. I'll just go off you. I mean, if we're going to talk about one, I'd love to talk about Harvard Brown, because I saw, it's just tough to see your boy travel up, from Connecticut, New York, wherever he's living right now, all the way up to Boston just to see his boys in Brown get their ass kicked from the nerds at in Cambridge. And that was tough. We work with the guy now in the Barstool office who played lacrosse at Harvard. Probably like graduated like 2015 or something, played in the MLL, but he was like, yeah, Larkin went ghost mode after that game. And I think that Jerry Byrne wants to talk his shit to Larkin. I think he wants to get on the airwaves and talk his shit.
I think that we should probably make that happen.
Yeah,
I mean,
I know. That's what I was saying.
But I think we could probably get both of them going at the same time. I think that
we have to, we might have to wait till after the season. So we have no, or maybe after the Ivy League tournament. So we don't have any, we don't give anyone bulletin board material.
Maybe, after the Ivy League tournament, we'll get the wheels in motion right now. We'll make it happen. I mean, really, really strong couple of days out of Harvard. Not only do they hold on to get that win over Brown, but Tuesday night, that game against BU, a lot of back and forth action. But at the end of the day, Harvard was able to hold on. They got a little help from the BU coach. I don't know if you saw that one during the game where forget which kid. I think he's a big Maryland kid on BU wearing 42. He takes on 2 short stick D mids, has them all over his back. BU coach gets a little bit nervous about losing possession there, calls the timeout right as he turns around to stick a backhander right in that top left corner. I mean, he framed it right before the timeout called. Frames a backhander in the top left corner. Goal gets wiped off the board, and then Harvard was able to keep pouring it on from there. I mean, let's obviously talk about the most chaotic one right now, the Princeton Penn game, because I mean that was one where. So I was coaching scrimmages all morning on Saturday, doing a little high school coaching, just running the cleanest box in America. But so I go to check the score right before I'm leaving the scrimmages for my day. And I see Princeton up it's like 9-3, 9-2, something like that at one point. I'm thinking to myself, damn, what a letdown for the cardiac Quakers, right? A team that I've been talking up for the past couple of weeks, team that I think is really going to start to, they've been living on the edge, dying on the edge a little bit so far to start the season with a lot of 1-goal wins. But I thought, they were finally going to turn around, start pouring it on some teams. And I see them down by 6 to Princeton. And I'm like, fuck, that's going to look really bad for me. All of a sudden, they just start chipping away at that lead. They end up tying it with maybe like a minute 30 left in the game. They get this all the way to 20-20. Game goes to overtime. And listen, rules committee, Bill Tierney, I know that you're listening to the podcast right now. How's it going? Good to see you. We got to do something about the broken stick rule in college lacrosse because, a pull on Penn goes to throw, quick little check on Chris Brown, snaps his stick over his arm. Guy's just too big, too strong to Princeton, but breaks the stick over his arm. He has to go run off the field. All of a sudden, Penn's defense is scrambling. They're now going 5v6. Ball gets back to Chris Brown, and he sticks the game winner for his 6th goal and 9th point of the night. But again, that all happens because of the broken stick and the guy on Penn having to run off the field, giving the Princeton quick little man up situation. So that rule we got to get away with that. If you break your stick on the field, you should be able to play without one for the rest of the possession.
Not a hockey guy. Talking to a hockey guy. In hockey, if you break your stick, can you stay on the ice?
Absolutely.
And it's fucking bullshit because if the PLL, shout out the PLL, shout out Erica Nardini, shout out the ESPN deal. But I mean, if we're trying to steal some things from hockey in PLL, like power play, like being like the fastest sport on 2 feet, shortening the field, trying to make it have like the excitement of hockey, then why can't you play without a stick? I mean, even if you can't, like, if you have to do like behind the back, hands behind the back sort of thing, so you can't push, like, fine. But like, you know, like,
Oh my
it just
God, that
doesn't
would
make
be
sense.
hilarious to see guys just
Shuffling the
waddling
feet.
around.
Yeah. This is why you watch the YouTube. You can watch this, but like throwing like a poke check with your hand, like trying to get it out. Would be so fucking funny. Seeing how creative people would get, like, just would be hilarious.
I do like the hands behind your back. I think that'd be a really good visual for people. But no, I mean, in box lacrosse, you can go without a stick, and the PLL, you can go without a stick, and hockey, you can go without a stick. So I don't know, like you feel the way that these sticks are made, like they're so light, like, and guys are getting so strong, like they're bound to break. So like maybe when you were using a wooden stick back in the 70s and like the only way to snap it was if you like tried to actually use it as a murder weapon, then like, yeah, if you snap it, you should probably get off the field because you're a fucking psychopath, not because you can't play the ball without a stick, but because you're just a lunatic. I also hate like if a player drops his stick but then like gets in the way of like a ground ball, then the ref will call the playing without a stick call, and then possession goes the other way. It all just seems to be a total headache that we don't need to deal with. So let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that rule, but not to take anything away from Princeton's win. I mean, that was a pretty dominant offensive performance out of them, especially out of Chris Brown. If there's one thing that Chris Brown knows how to do, it's land some heavy hits.
Was that a reference to his rap career or never mind. We'll go on to the next. Also, I just got to say, the broken stick rule, just one last thing. I want the broken stick rule to still be in effect if it benefits me and the team that I'm rooting for.
Oh,
but
absolutely.
if it hurts me and the team that I'm rooting for, I think that we should ban it forever. Or I
think that's only fair. And I think that, again, Bill Tierney, if you're listening to this one, just do me a favor, check in with Dukes before every game is played, see what action he has on these games, and then just, plan accordingly from there. Real quick, some breaking news out of Cornell, at least breaking on Saturday. It appears that Chase Erlin is adopted, or at least that is what TD said after the game, because Chase ended up with 18 saves on the day, which is actually, it's funny because, Chase Erlin had 18 saves in that Cornell 13-12 win over Yale. But at the same time, Jared Paquette also had 18 saves for Yale. So like whoever won that game, the headline was going to be that goalie's 18 saves led the way. So it's not like he totally outplayed Paquette for Yale, but yeah, after that game, TD on Twitter, you're adopted. Your parents don't even love you, Chase Erlin. So it seems like TD is taking that one very, very well. Tough loss for the Eli.
I was kind of shocked that the Princeton and Penn goalie didn't get goalie of the week, in my honest opinion.
Yeah, I mean,
they're
seeing a lot of shots. So like,
no, for sure. I'm not no slight at them. I mean, look at me. I'm fucking a backup high school goalie talking shit about players that are way better than me.
But you're like the best backup high school goalie.
The greatest backup. But
check the practice stats.
They had 17 saves combined. Like, it's just crazy that like in two Ivy League games, you have two goalies that have 18 saves each, and then one game where there's 17 saves combined.
I mean, it was a wild weekend in the Ivies, and that's what we love to see. Aside from Chase Erlin's 18 saves in that one, CJ Kirst had 4 goals for Cornell, and I want to throw a little question at you here. The Kirst family. Yeah. All right, so let's like bunch of animals. Now, let's say that we have a lacrosse tournament and the only teams invited are lacrosse families, right? So you can only show up and you play with your brothers or whatever. So there's a tournament. Where do you see the Kirst brothers coming out in that? Like, where do you see them placing in that one? So like, let's say like we've got the Gates will go out there, but they're a pretty small team. You've got the Pals.
Stanwicks.
The Stanwicks have like, they have like, they're able to sub in and out. Like they have
the Thompsons.
The Thompsons are there. Who else would be in there? Oh, the Bernhardts would be in there.
Ooh, that's a good one.
But I mean, the Curse family, and they have a great goalie involved as well.
Yeah, shit. I was gonna say Burn. Well, I think I might, because the Bernhards would have all three phases of the game besides goalie basically covered. They have Jake, Jesse, Jared.
But that's if Jared decides to come back from playing football.
Yeah, after his stint
Shout,
with the Patriots.
shout out Ferris State.
Yeah, after his stint with the Patriots. But I don't know. That's a tough one. The Curse family is the most underrated family in lacrosse, I think. I mean, you are completely right about that. I mean, they are studs top to bottom.
I mean, Cole Kirst had 4 goals as well in Lehigh's win over Army this weekend. So I mean, there's 8 goals out of the brothers, and then Rutgers. Rutgers played a shitbag on Saturday, but
that's a tough question. I've been thinking about this hard. I mean, I think you just got to go with the Thompsons. Don't overthink it.
Okay, but I do think that the Curse brothers put up a very admirable performance in that tournament. I think that they're a team that maybe they go out in the maybe they make a nice little run to the Final Four, and then they're the team heading into next year where everyone's like, yep, like they.
Whoa, 3. They finished 3rd. I think I'm going.
Okay, yes.
I'm going Thompsons, Bernhardts, Kirsts, Stanwicks.
Yeah, just out of numbers, like Stanwicks. Just, I mean, obviously, Steele, one of the goats.
Yeah,
but I mean, like if you're able to run like 45, like a whole roster of 45 out there, you're gonna do pretty well. But yeah, so good win for Cornell. Tough one for Yale. Let's see, that was all. Oh yeah, and then. Well, Dartmouth also got a win over the weekend. So there you go. There are 4 Ivy wins on Saturday. Any other games from Saturday or the weekend that stood out to you?
Yeah, I'd like to talk about how Hopkins is just becoming the Dallas Cowboys and how they are literally a team of the past. They used to be great. They used to be the gold standard, and you know, they still have fans running around. They still have fans in the wild. They have fans all over the nation. But I mean, does anybody really care? They still get brought in these network games, and they're dog shit. I mean, Navy gets their first win over Hopkins since 1969. I mean, seriously, that was before the is that before the Vietnam War? I don't know. It was before Woodstock. It was before Woodstock.
Oh yeah, that's all you need to know.
Before Woodstock. So, I mean, and then they lost again to Delaware. Just tough. I mean, I know we talk about Hopkins a lot. We hate on Hopkins a lot, but it's crazy to think that one day their lacrosse shorts at Lacrosse Unlimited were like the go-to things to get. I mean, I could only imagine that those are just piling up in the basement at this point.
So much dust on them. That was probably my favorite 45 to 60 seconds in the history of this podcast. As a big time Hop hater and as a big time Dallas Cowboys hater, I loved everything about that whole little spiel, and it's dead on too, because there's not a lot coming out of Hopkins besides just brutal loss after brutal loss, and they're still going to end up with games on ESPNU, and it's like, get them out of my face.
I got one. I got a verbal meme. My mom, Johns Hopkins lacrosse fans, handshake, always being disappointed. That's a verbal meme.
There you go.
And
intern Drake, get it up on the Twitter. Yeah, I mean, good win out of Notre Dame, and I think that that's just. Does it say more about Notre Dame, or does it say more that Michigan was just the most fraudulent team to ever exist? And like, they should probably go to jail for those first 7 games. Like, that was just pure. I don't know exactly what word I'm looking for here, but just fraudulent. When you trick investors into giving you money, is that just, yeah. So they're the Dukes of college.
Well,
No, I
no,
mean,
can we just talk about we're just talking about Virginia got stampeded by Maryland. My boys from in the Irish, they only lost to Maryland by 2.
so I would say that the Virginia Maryland game said a lot more about Notre Dame than the Notre Dame win over Michigan. But really good game out of Liam Menzeman.
He's a stud. He played his best game of the year at the moment they needed him most. I mean, he is a brick wall. I think he was in his head heavy the first couple of games. I mean, I've said it time after time, and I'll say it every fucking episode until everyone gets through everyone's thick skull. He's the best goalie in the country. There's no doubt about it in my mind. He's the best goalie in the country.
I just want to say real quick, we both fucked up. Now that we're talking about this game, do you know where we fucked up at?
Not talking about the Kavanaughs yet?
In that tournament of
Oh my God, we did fuck up so bad. They have two guys that are playing pros and 1 and 2 basically on the tour time watch list. And we just grew. All right. Just the Kavanaughs have won that tournament. Next.
Dang. But yeah, I mean, listen, really good for Notre Dame. And I think that's a win that's going to, help them moving forward. I think that's one of those wins where you kind of needed, like every once in a while, you need a slump buster, right? Like she might not be exactly what you were looking for at the time, but she's exactly what you needed at the time to get yourself going. So good for Notre Dame and Michigan. I never want to hear from you again. Already mentioned that Lehigh held off to beat Army 11-10. So guess Lehigh hates the troops. Pretty good win for Denver. Their first big win of the season to take down Ohio State.
Sure.
So Ohio State is still going to be a like a show me team. They're going to need to prove it to me. I think that the Big Ten outside of Maryland, relatively shit so far this year. So I think that, Ohio State's going to have a pretty good run to the tournament. Like they'll just have to take care of Rutgers, I guess. But they're still going to be in the show me stage. I still don't see much out of Denver this year, but that was definitely a win though that they had to have, or else they were going to be full blown irrelevant this season.
Thank God that we had the Denver Loyola game last year in the tournament. Probably my favorite college lacrosse game I've ever watched. Besides a Final Four championship game, that genuinely was the best lacrosse game I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think Bill Tierney's still screaming at that ref right now. That's like the one thing that I really remember is just really just the man was beat red. He always is, but
I think that Loyola and Denver are still just hung up on that game. But yeah, and then North Carolina High Point close one.
Oh, I do want to say out of that one. So in that game, Chris Gray, I don't know if he passed Connor Fields or if he tied Connor Fields for 4th most points all time. But he's sitting right now at 364 points in his career. Right now, he's scoring 6.1 points per game. Big stats guy over here. So they have 6 more games left in the regular season. Now, I don't know how well you are at multiplication, but 6 times 6, 36. So if he keeps on this pace, he will end up beating Lyle Thompson for the most career points in D1 history.
He's pretty good at this game, huh?
He's decent for sure. Does that sound a little weird though?
Yeah, I don't like that, to be honest. Wait, Gutty has the record though, right? Or is that goals?
I think that's goals.
I
think that's goals. Listen, we love Chris Gray, friend of the program. I think he's a 2-time guest on the show. Still sounds a little weird though that he'd overtake Lyle. Maybe it's just because of I don't know how many games he's played though. I feel like he's had to have played more games.
But yeah, because he had the COVID year. He's the year below me, and I'm 2 years out of college. Year. Yeah, so he gets a couple games. Went to a Final Four, but he also played for BU for a couple of years. So then you could say he didn't have those postseason games to some extent.
That's another good friend of the program, Dan Oresti. I saw him tweet out the other night. that if Chris Gray stayed at BU, that they'd be ranked ahead of UNC right now. Agree or disagree?
It's such a preposterous take that I think that I have to agree with it, because clearly he sees something in BU that I'm just not seeing. But I love that take. I mean, that's ridiculous.
I'm also not going to disagree with brother Dan.
Yeah, no, I'll say this: no rebuttal from me.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up everything that you may have missed in the past week of college lacrosse. And anything else that sticks out to you?
Not really. I mean, if you want to talk girls lacrosse really quick, I saw something with
North goal.
The Charlotte North goal was literally disgusting. I would do if any listener out there could get me in contact with her to do a goalie challenge, I'm dying. I'm like done in 2 weeks. I'll be on the road. I'm going up to Boston. I would love nothing more than for her to embarrass the fuck out of me. Like, I want her to emasculate me as a human being.
Are you going to have her shoot from the 8 meter, or do you want her to back up a little bit? Because the way she moves it from that arc, dude, the power cradle, like, I don't know how teams like don't just have a girl running out for the face off like as soon as she starts that power cradle. It's like, what's going to happen. Like, exactly what's going to happen here. That ball is going to splatter the back of the net. You guys are going to go take a draw. Like, you should already be out there. You're just wasting time. There's
2 things that I've thought about in the hypothetical situation that me and Charlotte North, she shoots on me. One, it can't be like the net can't be wet at all, because I don't want her to paint the corner splash. And the splash. That's just too much for me. Second, trust circle. Nobody tell her this. Everyone gather in. I'm just going to guess where she's shooting it. I'm just going to protect the corner. I'm just going to top left, just like protect that. Because if she like bounces it in on me or she goes low on me, like, I'll let her get that. I'm only going to stop
thing, though. She's a sick bastard. She doesn't go low. Like, she wants...
I know that's what I'm saying.
That, she wants domination factor of painting a corner.
I know. Fuck. She's so good. But yeah, I did see something about, I want to try to find it really quick, but it was something about BC women's lacrosse had great attendance compared to Johns Hopkins, Syracuse. It was, I think, BC UNC almost doubled men's lacrosse, BC, Syracuse, Johns Hopkins at Homewood, which is just crazy to think about. Grow the game.
Well, didn't BC, they just played UNC, I think.
Yeah, they doubled the attendance of Johns Hopkins, Syracuse.
Right. So the difference there is you have multiple superstars on the field for that BC UNC women's game, and you have a grand total of 0.5 stars in Syracuse first hop. I like Tucker Dordovic enough that I'm not going to say he's not a stud. So I'll give him that 0.5, but yeah.
No, yeah, I guess to some extent you can make the argument I sounded a little misogynistic, but if I told you 5 years ago that Johns Hopkins, Syracuse at Homewood for Dave Petramala's return would only get like 2,900 people, and BC UNC women's lacrosse had 6,000, 7,000 people, that's insane.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. Like Charlotte North is a superstar in lacrosse, like as big as it gets.
I got asked by people here, like, who should we try to like get in contact, maybe for like merch? I don't even and I was like, look, here's like a list of guys. You guys could probably imagine who I like told them about. And then I was like, really, for girls, there's like 3 names you need, and 2 of them are in the ACC. Like, I was like, it's 2 dead. It's Jamie Ortega and Charlotte North. And I was like, Charlotte North is the white whale. I mean, she's changing the game. I mean, it's just very impressive. I'd love to have her on for an interview. Big fan of hers.
Yeah. We came close a couple times.
I think Charlotte, I might have her locked for her.
Okay. There we go. Well, speaking of, ratings and attendance and, superstar deals, before we get into our college lax weekend preview for this upcoming week, we have to change gears a little bit and talk about the PLL, because they just announced their new 4-year broadcasting deal with ESPN. So I think what was the final, like 47 games will be played on either ABC, ESPN, ESPN2, or you can stream all of them on ESPN Plus. Huge news for the league. I mean, the thing about like, first off, I really enjoyed the NBC,
Mhm.
their coverage. Like I really enjoyed all those broadcasts. I think that they did incredible things. With the mic'd up players during the game, with interviewing players like as they're coming off the field on the sideline. Like all that was awesome. Like the production that NBC put together was really, really good. But this deal is so huge for the PLL because of what happens after the games are done, right? Like the last 3 years, like the production on NBC was great, but then after that, what? Like you went to NBC, you didn't really hear about the PL. Like it's not
Mhm.
like they have like other shows where they just get to keep talking about the games. But with ESPN, like they're not only going to get eyeballs on the game while they air the actual games, but then you're going to get more coverage on Sports Center. You might even get Stephen A. Smith just talking about Sergio Perkovic running guys over and shit like that. So like you're gonna get a little bit more of them shoving the game down your throat, which is pretty much what we need. So huge news for the PLL.
I think that if anyone follows Larkin on Twitter, I think he made great points. I mean, just the fact that lacrosse, ESPN owns the vertical for lacrosse, indoors, outdoors, professional, and then you got college. It's a one stop for all lacrosse. I'm very happy for the PLL. I'm very happy that they got the deal done. I do have one question though. This is when it gets interesting because during championship it's like September 14th, September 7th, and college football is big around that time. The championships usually at like on a Saturday or Sunday at 3 o'clock. I forget what
I feel
exact.
like the
Is it
final
NFL?
is you well, so I feel like the final is typically on a Sunday.
It was Saturday the
And
first year, Sunday the second. Like,
okay.
or like last year, then the COVID year was whatever. The first year was a Saturday. In my brain, I'm gonna look it up now, but in my brain, I was wondering how they would set it up if it was Saturday with college football, but I bet you it's a Sunday.
I'm almost positive that it was a Sunday. Oh, but I do think it was either week 1 or week 2 of the NFL season. So still like a
Mm-hmm.
little bit of a tough draw, but I don't think that it's going to be it was definitely a Sunday this year. I feel like
It definitely was. I
it was
remember
like
because we were.
September 14th, and I think the Eagles were playing against mm, either way, bad radio. But
No, because I
uh
remember Big Cat was talking about it. Oh shit! If the Water Dogs make the championship, I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have to watch it during the
right.
first NFL Sunday.
Well, hold up. Am I seeing real quick? This is just breaking news as this is going. Damn the Rock. I'm seeing the Rock interacting with Paul Rabel on Twitter.
Wayne the Rock Johnson.
Dwayne the Rock Johnson, may have heard of him before. Um,
Oh yeah, the Miami football player.
yes, yeah, he was also in a movie called The Tooth Fairy, where it was about a hockey player um, who ended up becoming the Tooth Fairy because hockey players lose their teeth a lot. So I don't know if you guys saw that one or not, but probably one of the greatest films of the 20th century. But yeah, to finish off this PLL ESPN deal, yeah, I think just really big for the league. I think that it's going to get a lot of good eyeballs on the game, and I think again the PLL in itself is like such a made for TV experience. Just it's fast paced. It's the field's a little bit shorter. I feel like the rules are probably a lot easier to understand as a newcomer to lacrosse. Like
Mm-hmm.
I think the 2 point line makes a lot of sense. It's going to get people excited who haven't seen the sport before. It's going to look a little bit more familiar to them if they're used to watching basketball. So I think that this is big for the league. The only few things that I hope is that one, that let the boys cuss on ESPN Plus, right? If the fellas are mic'd up, let a couple swears pass by. And I also hope that Ryan Boyle is able to make the jump over to ESPN.
Confirmed, Ken. I
Has
checked
that
his
already?
bio.
Oh, okay.
I
Well,
saw I
perfect.
saw he had like NBC dash PLL, and there was like with ESPN. So, I mean,
Beautiful.
that's a dream. I mean, him, would you like a niche or a Kark on it? Who's your dream? Who's your game day? Who do you want on game day for
Well,
PLL?
it's just tough with a knee. Like, is he going to be available for the something because he's doing the Carolina Panthers now? So like that, a niche is my guy.
Same.
That's what I would want. Um,
You bring back
I,
McEnany?
yeah, I think that's probably the way to go. I know that Quint is already in with ESPN, but I just feel like if you're, I don't know, you just
I'll say it.
go ahead.
The worst decision that the PLL could make with this ESPN Plus deal is to get Quint on the call.
I agree.
And I mean that truthfully. If Quint truly loves the game of lacrosse and he truly wants the game to grow, he will stick to college lacrosse, be happy with his paycheck, stick to wrestling and college football once in a while, but get the fuck away from the PLL. You do not need to ruin this.
Yeah, like Boyle does such a great job of breaking down the game after goals, and he's able to kind of tell you exactly what happened without dumbing it down too much to where it's like patronizing. And then you get Kark out there, or not Kark. Well, sorry
Quint.
for the ricochet, Kark.
Yeah.
Kark, you're cool. But then you get Quinn out there, and he's just like, and this is like if it was a baseball guy hitting a home run, and that's what a goal is in lacrosse, and and turn and rake.
Ooh, that's a great save. That reminds me of when I played at Hopkins in 1987.
Yeah.
Fuck car. Oh, fuck. Jesus Christ. I keep fucking this up.
It's
Fuck Quint.
Kark, we love you.
Kark's like my favorite. I'd love to have him.
Yeah, huge news for the PLL, and we'll be, I'm sure, talking more about that as we get closer to the PLL season. Let's wrap this thing up here with a couple picks and predictions for this weekend slate of games. So, we've got another couple big ones in the Ivy with Penn, Cornell, Princeton's going on the road to Yale. Your Notre Dame Irish, they have a chance to prove themselves if that win over Michigan is enough to spark them heading into this back half of the season with a game against Virginia. Georgetown, Lehigh, that's going to be a good one. And then a good Sunday in the Big Ten. So any games here that stick out to you as a certified lock, a Dukes guarantee? I'm pretty sure you're undefeated on the season.
I really like Cornell plus 1.5. Really like Cornell plus 1.5. I think that defense is pretty legit. I think that Erlin is a big time stopper from behind. But I mean, just looking away from that game, I guess the Virginia Notre Dame game, I've been going back and forth with. This is the first time I'm looking at the line 2.5. I want to say Notre Dame, but I wanted to really bad. I was hoping it was going to be like 3.5, 4.5. I think that Virginia just might be a little bit too talented and might have a big ass chip on their shoulder from getting embarrassed.
I think that their tails were tucked so hard between their legs after that loss to Maryland, just a lot of tension. And now that tail is going to springboard straight back out and just smack the shit out of whoever is next. And unfortunately for the Irish, it's them. Tough draw for them.
And this is also in any other sport where it's very popularly betted, like football, basketball, 2.5 would be a trap game. So you'd say that makes no sense. Why is Virginia spread that low? You got to take Notre Dame, but lacrosse isn't bet that much where I wouldn't even think of it as a trap game. Really. I think that it's just bet Virginia and hope that Entman doesn't have another game where he saves 70% of his shots.
Yeah. I like Lehigh keeping it pretty tight against Georgetown. It's going to be a home game for Lehigh. I think that Sisselberger and Riley will be a pretty good matchup at the face-off X. Pretty good matchup between the goalies in that one. So, I think Georgetown probably wins, but I think that one stays pretty tight. And I also love Maryland minus 6 on the road at Penn State. Just going to Happy Valley Sunday night.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, so we got Sunday night Big Ten lacrosse back in our lives, so really excited about that one. But I think, although I don't know, like I'm saying that almost tongue in cheek right now, I do think that this is one of those games where Penn State, like I still feel like Penn State is too talented to be as bad as they have been this season. They've had a few of those games where they show up to play against teams that are very good. So 6 might be a little much for Maryland, especially after do I think that they shit kick Virginia and then go ahead and shit kick Penn State the very next week? I think that they have more than enough guys to do it, but
I have a stone cold lock.
Let's hear it.
Stone cold lock. If you're scared of the points, take Princeton money line against Yale. If you ain't no bitch like me, take the -1.5. That's mine. I truthfully think that Yale is a very well coached team that kind of sucks right now. I think that by the end of the May, they could make a run in the tournament because that's how much I think that the coaching staff is legit. That's how much I think that Yale is gritty, but to some extent, you got to challenge the senior class to bring that grit back to the program.
I love that Yale lacrosse was able to do that. To be able to get some guys who go to Yale and have like the qualifier that you have as their team gritty.
But it actually is.
It's so true. It is, but like in no other facet of life would you be able to say that a Yale guy is gritty. But their lacrosse team has somehow taken on that persona.
I was talking to a Yale guy over the weekend and he denied it, but I did ask him. I was like, "Do you think that the COVID year, then having the season canceled last year, did they kind of lose that mantra in the locker room of being the badass tough guys, shit talkers? Because it's not like the senior class can like trickle it down. It's not like the younger guys can see it kind of progress. It's like they came in as a freshman and now they're juniors all of a sudden. So I was like, has that had it really any effect? He said that it'll come back. I kind of called bullshit on it. I think that it is affecting them. I think that they aren't playing like Yale usually plays, but that's just my opinion. What do I really know? I hope it comes back because at one point they were my favorite team to watch.
Just assholes. The lot of them.
It was Notre Dame and Yale always.
Yeah. I mean, I love that call. I think that's 23.5 as the total in that one. I feel like it's pretty low. I feel like that's going to be a game that gets going early and gets going often. I do like Virginia coming big. They're in need of a bounce back after that one. I think that, and Entman has enough to keep that one tight, especially after his performance that he had this past weekend, but I like Virginia bouncing back there. Like I already said, I like Lehigh keeping it tight at Georgetown. Then the Big Ten games, I don't know. Maybe I would just sprinkle on the over in Maryland, Penn State Sunday night under the lights, Happy Valley. Boys are going to be buzzing. I feel like Penn State's a team that a lot of guys on Maryland would like to really stick it to. So I feel like they're going to shoot whenever they get the opportunity. And then I think that, this is a game for Penn State where some of those guys might play a little bit better than they've looked so far this season. So I like the over in that one.
Yeah. I mean, I'm probably going to take Penn State with the points, to be honest.
It is a massive line.
Yeah. I also think that this is like a Tambroni game where he can't get embarrassed. And I think that he's in the film room all week. He's making sure that he doesn't get embarrassed in this one because maybe he does feel the pressure. Maybe to an extent he does feel the pressure.
Yeah. Tambroni and Tillman are like almost like, I feel like they're just like broths. Like
they're the same person.
They're the same exact person. It's so hard to tell them apart. It's just one of them carries around the iPad.
Yeah. Yeah. And when they're both coaching the Ivies at the same time, that fucked me up when I was younger.
Yeah. Yeah. They're the same person. Again, that's a big line. So that's why I just like the total in that one. But yeah, so another solid weekend of college lacrosse ahead of us. Obviously, just sprinkle a few games in while you're watching college basketball this weekend. Make sure that you guys, if you're not already, go subscribe to the YouTube channel. We are not at the Crease Dive. You don't need ads on YouTube, but we're the Crease Dive on YouTube. We put up all the full episodes of the podcast there so you can watch while you listen. And then throughout the season, we'll try to get a few more videos up there, just doing, I'm going to restart that one. Yep. So, so another big weekend of college lacrosse ahead of us. So, get a few screens ahead of you as you're throwing on college basketball for the weekend. Throw some lax games on. Make sure if you're not already, go subscribe to the YouTube channel, the Crease Dive on YouTube. We're uploading all the podcast full episodes up there, and just follow along. We'll probably get some more video content going as our schedules free up a little bit once the basketball season's over and once it gets a little bit nicer outside. So go check out, subscribe, the Crease Dive on YouTube. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies. Make sure you're following us on Twitter and Instagram at the Crease Dive. Dudes, you got anything else for the boys and girls at home?
Yeah, look, we made the YouTube for you guys, the viewers. I'm putting in extra work in the office. I'm grinding early morning. I'm grinding late at night to give you guys better content.
It's not
if
called
you guys
YouTube.
Want, yeah,
it's called YouTube.
YouTube. What'd I say?
That's what I'm saying. We didn't make it for us. We made it for you.
Yeah. It's not MeTube. It's not WeTube. It's YouTube. It's for you. I think in even 2 weeks, maybe this is a little breaking news, but I think Billy Football might be shooting on me. Get him a little warm up going. So that's something that we could see. Maybe some other things during the week. We're going to try to fish some things out, test some things out, but the YouTube will be popping. The YouTube will be where all the content is besides the podcast. So make sure you subscribe. It's going to be a great time.
And in the meantime, we'll be keeping it low to high to the day we die. We out.